Hey, welcome to Ward Wrestling Live. I'm here with my weekly call with Dan from Chief of Staff Spartan, or Dan McDonald from Spartan, who is the Chief of Staff. I get all mixed up there. But welcome. I think it's our 10th week doing this, so it's pretty cool. We've been introducing all things Spartan to the community that I love and I'm around. And today we welcome Shell back. We spoke to Shell previous week with her Lionhearts Fitness. Well, she is also an ambassador. And then we have Gabe, who leads the ambassador program, and the street team program, which we're going to explain what all that means. But welcome, guys. And Dan, I'll kind of let Dan. I let Dan kind of take over all things Spartan because he knows way more than me.
So real quick, so we've got, and Umberto, we got you in your car. So again, appreciate you. Obviously, you're busy and running around, so appreciate you stopping and taking the time to
absolutely
jump on here with us. So Gabe, just real quick, at high level, your 30-second elevator speech that you can give us on what is the ambassador program here at Spartan? What does it mean? And then we will talk to a couple of our active folks out here.
Sure. So our ambassador program is definitely something that we offer to our volunteer community. We want to give them an honorary platform to sit upon and speak on behalf of the brand. They're already doing it in their local efforts anyways, so we want to be able to capitalize on that. Overall, they're also part of the sales team. They're helping with those efforts, making sure that we get sold out events. And any grassroots efforts in terms of bringing first-time racers, gaining awareness on what we're actually doing as far as the brand's concerned from our charity plays, and anything else that really is just thrown at me. I personally just feel like the ambassador team is just rolling with it and doing an amazing job.
Awesome. And that's having been running races for the last 4 years, I can say that there's a lot of things I didn't know about Spartan before I joined the company 10 months ago. But I knew about the ambassador program. I knew what a difference they made at the events. You could feel it, you could see it, along with the volunteers too. Obviously, the volunteers are part of the heart of how we even pull off our events every week. So knowing that both of these folks that are on the call are not only active ambassadors, but I know they also drag people out to make sure they're volunteering and making sure that the kids events and the adult events have got the people where they need to be. So again, I know Umberto, you're in your car and you're making some time for this call. So I'm going to start with you.
Okay.
So why did you decide to be part of this team and working with Gabe? What drove you to decide to do this?
It's the ability to be able to encourage people to do something out of their world that they have never done. Very often, the number one excuse that I get or explanation that I get is, I don't think I'm capable of doing that. I don't think I'm fit enough to do that. And I always ask them, well, what do you know about Spartan? So me creating that enthusiasm and that positive background of what a Spartan event is, not only you meet amazing people from all different fit levels, to the point that, all I tell them is give it a try. If you think about it, things that you normally do on a daily basis, they are somewhat Spartan obstacles that you do. For example, when you go to the market, you grab 4 bags and you walk from your car to your house. That's a jerry can carry, you know, things like that. When you pick up your kid, that are easily over 50 pounds, that's the Hercules hoist, or that's the Atlas ball. So a lot of those things that we do on a daily basis is things that are done at a Spartan event, but now you have to do walking with you or running if you like to do that. But I always explain to them, you're not required to do every obstacle. That's why they're the open heats, and it's an opportunity for you to first see where you are. And I tell them, just do one event. I promise you, you're going to be hooked, just like I was. My first event was back in 2018, and here I am. I started as a volunteer, but then I saw the opportunity to pass on what Spartan is all about. How is it that Spartan has changed my life personally? And now I have the opportunity to pass it on to other people and bring them on board. And I tell them, through the sales lead that I'm part of, is not expensive. There's always promotions through the Spartan website or even at the venue. For example, recently at the Angel Stadium, people as they were coming out with their medal, all sweating, with their, with their feet ate. And I was like, hey, congratulations, how was it? They were like, you know what? It was not that bad. And I was like, well, guess what? You can come back for next year, this same venue, at this amazing low price that you will never find it anywhere else. So right there and then, they just had the experience. They feel proud about themselves. They're excited. So now they not only want to do it again, they want to bring their spouse, they want to bring their best friend, because it's just an amazing environment that it brings people together, just as it brought me together. And why not be part of this amazing group, and that Gabe overall, the way that he puts things together is just like, hey, let's go. Like, for example, for me, it's 6 o'clock in the morning over here. I'm wide awake. Let's do this. I saw the opportunity. Why not?
What's incredible, and I've had a chance to see it. Actually saw it in South Carolina. I know Shell was out in South Carolina. Gabe gets to see it quite often. We could, as a company, we could hire salespeople to be at our sales tent, right? We could go hire just regular salespeople who have never ran a Spartan race, who don't understand it, don't understand the feeling of crossing the finish line, jumping over the fire, crawling through mud voluntarily and getting all scarred up and everything. But when you actually know what you're talking about and you say it like you just said it, you understand that person who just crossed that finish line, that there's a natural high that goes on when you cross the finish line. Even if you're running the open heats, even if you're not competing, it's just a matter, you made it through something that an hour and a half ago you thought you would never ever do. And halfway through you thought you would never finish, and somehow you finished, right? So again, we'll talk a little bit about part of the intent, and Gabe will give us something on there, what the team's there for. But Gabe's going to give us the checklist of what the ambassador team does, right? I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to ask him not to be as energetic as he always is, and I'm giving it to you two to be the energetic ones that are always talking about, or that can talk to the energy you just did. So I'm going to now sneak on up over to Shell.
But Shell doesn't have energy.
Shell has no energy at all, has
I have
no
no energy.
She's
I'm so shy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I found out this weekend as we talked for a couple hours this weekend out of nowhere. So, which we're gonna probably a little bit of sneak peek on this one here for that too.
Okay.
Very small, because we don't want to.
Yeah.
Program. But so Shell, as you, and I guess South Carolina is a great example of what I saw you do as an ambassador. So, we've talked about the sales, which we do, right? A lot of the ambassadors will work the sales, but there's another aspect of it as an ambassador, and what it means to ensure that like our kids' events go off absolutely amazingly, because we know that's the future of our business. What are some things you do as an ambassador and just somebody who truly knows what Spartan means to people and what it means to their lives? What are some stuff you do that I know you organize before you get to the event? You're running around dragging people around by the scuff of their neck to make sure that they get to where they belong. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Her passion is kids too, right?
No, not at all. I got put in that position, but yeah, no, my passion actually is to get over the obstacles, life's obstacles, and that includes the children, the adult, and Spartan gives us that. I had been a volunteer, as we shared in the other podcast, and that's at length already. Volunteering is how I started. It was everything to me before I ever thought about racing. So to me, that being a volunteer is so important, because it makes you come alive. It helps you help others, but it also, you see something that you cannot see anywhere else, especially if you're on course. There's all kinds of volunteering, but for me, it brought it up alive for me. My husband went to his very first race recently, and he just stood there like this, because he didn't know what people were capable of. It just freaked him out. He's going to do his first race in November. Now he's thinking about going to Nashville, but that's another story. But it just brings you alive. And so then when I heard about this ambassador program being a new ambassador program, I really wanted to be part of that because I saw a new branding. I saw a new change in Spartan, that we were trying to change some of the ideas that were out there and some of these things that were sneaking out during the pandemic, and just the junk that was being talked about had nothing to do with the Spartan I knew. Nothing. Okay, nothing. And it had nothing to do with the passion of the children, nothing to do with the kindness of Joe or you. It just didn't make any sense to me after my years of volunteering. So I wanted to be part of spreading the news of what is Spartan. Look at these people, these pros, these elite are my buddies, these people that are getting off the couch. They're coming alive. They can't wait for, oh my gosh, it's race weekend. People like me with a disease, people like More Hearts and Scars are out there. So we're not hearing that. We're hearing, I don't know, just pandemic stuff instead of the real deal. So I wanted to be part of the positivity. And that's what Gabe brings to us. Now, he's an organizational freak. He's beyond me. Okay. I mean, that's kind of weird as in itself, Gabe, but he has it all set up to where we can go into schools, or we can go into at the info tent, and we can let people know, we can get them excited. That's everything I wanted to do in the first place. That's what I thought I was. That's who I wanted to be. I wanted everybody to know. I started Land Arts Fitness to do that. And now Gabe's doing that, or actually Spartan is doing that, and Gabe's our coordinator, but doing that for everybody. And I wanted to be part of that. That I am part of that. I'm actually even a lead now. So I get to really be a part of that. And he really puts me to work. But he uses my skills. He doesn't say, do this, do this. He uses my skills. If you want to be an ambassador, you want to be a volunteer, your skills are used. If I do graphic design, he says, hey, Shell, maybe some cue cards. If I want to work in the sales, I can do sales. If I want to work in festival, I want to work with the children, I want whatever, they'll put you where you want to be. You want to be on the course, be on the course. You don't want to be on the course, they won't put you out there. There's so many ways to use your skills, and they will use them. And that's what I like. It's amazing. And even ambassadors are volunteers. So we're all volunteers because we really believe in the Spartan message. We believe in the community. We believe in what's going on. Or why the heck would we do it? There are some perks. I'm sure he's going to talk about that, but still, I'm an old lady. Those perks aren't enough for me. For me, the real deal is the community, and I love it. So that's all. I talk a lot.
I said, well, and what's interesting is and I know Gabe, so we're gonna sneak back on over to you. So I want to ask you, because we got obviously two of our ambassadors with us, two very energetic, passionate people about the brand, about what they do. But in a basic sense, what does it take to be an ambassador for Spartan? What are things that is there a checklist stuff somebody has to be able to do, say, whatever? What are the basic needs that we have to hit?
Yeah, so I mean, I think Shell and Humberto both touched on it. One, it's a personality thing first and foremost, right? Like if you want that person to be energetic, to be out there, to be involved, invested, and both of them are completely that, right? Like they hit those teaks. And so for me personally, I would say that ambassador needs to be able to speak positively on the brand, be willing to do above and beyond to really put the Spartan brand in a positive light, and also to support Tough Mudder in an aspect as well, right? Like we want to make sure that we're unified in those efforts. But yeah, I mean, I would say someone who's willing to go above and beyond. And then, I mean, I want to say this too to Shell and Humberto, and I think this can be a testament, is Humberto is one of the first people to jump up and say, hey, I want to be involved. I want to be present for these conversations. He's always looking to reform things, make things better. We want to challenge anything that we're doing and improve what's not being done to the best of its ability. Shell, one of those people who's so creative, has a vision, wants to see Spartan continue to grow and be that person who can really help other people just like Shell be a part of that initiative. So in general, the ambassadors and being a part of the ambassador program means to want to see improvement to the brand, be someone who can be a positive influence for people who don't know anything about Spartan, and retain people so that we continue to get the same racers back to our events year after year.
Yeah. So now, again, I know Shell doesn't care about the perks. However,
I mean, I like him.
But there are some perks and rewards. I mean, so we're not asking folks just to come out here and do all this work. and not have
Right.
something available for them. There's things that we make available for the hard work. I've spent hours with some of your ambassadors at the info table and out at registration and different areas. So what is the what's in it for me for an ambassador?
Yeah, so our rewards and perks also align with our tier system. So for each tier that they continue to grow and they actually invest more time or they do sales, there's two different programs and kind of aspects of how they can really just shine throughout the program. There's going to be different unlockables that they receive. So that's going to be our normal codes that we give out for volunteering. We have our Ultra. We're going to have DECA codes as well. We're going to have the ability for Trail. We're also going to be able to still do our Super Sprint Beast options. We still have our DECA certification. We have SGX 50% off, Obstacle Specialist. So there's going to be a couple of more of those redeemable perks. Commission is a huge thing that we're working through launching here soon. But everyone that's able to actually reach different tiers is able to get paid on whatever they're selling. And those same promotional items that's happening on the Spartan website is actually tracked back to the individual ambassador. And so that's going to happen quarterly. And that's a huge incentive for people who want a side gig, be able to have, just some extra money to go to some groceries, maybe to their kids, maybe to themselves, whatever works for them. So there's going to be those multiple options that we're actually going to give to the ambassadors. We're working on a couple of more perks that we're still trying to fine tune and release, but hopefully we get some more. We had something else that was just exclusive for a season pass for how many things they were able to sell during a limited flash. I think it was a 48-hour flash sale that we had going on. So there's certain things that kind of just pop up here and there as well.
I got a question. So for the community that we're listening to, maybe there's coaches out there right now that are listening to this. Maybe there's wrestlers that are old enough to work legally in the United States, right? Maybe there's parents out there that are listening to this and they say, wow, this is a great chance for me to make some extra money, for me to kind of bring Spartan into my world, whether I'm a coach, I'm a teacher, I'm a student, and it kind of goes off of what you were just saying on what it takes to be an ambassador.
Right.
How do they get involved with the program? I think you were probably going to ask this, right? But I was just kind of thinking it. But how would they get in touch with you, or how would they say, okay, I think I can do this. I think I can walk around and talk to folks and get them out to your race?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. We do have an application process that each ambassador goes through, prospective ambassadors, if you will. We make sure that you guys fill out a questionnaire. It's just basically the general qualities of like, what do you feel like you possess? What can you bring to the program? We want to bring people into this program that already are passionate, have a drive, and have an initiative of what they actually want to bring to the table. So that's huge and important part of our screening process. Something else, and I think you guys see this too, is we post consistently on some of the West Coast Spartan pages. Humberto does an amazing job at that. We also have cue cards that Shell created that we're able to push out to anyone that's interested. But first and foremost, if anyone wants to contact me directly, I can always give that information out on this podcast, or I can always give it to you guys indirectly. But yeah, that's definitely what we want to do, to secure as many people as we possibly can, but everyone goes through that application as part of being a
Can
part
I
of this
interrupt you,
program.
Gabe, for a sec? Yeah, I also want to say that there is a commitment to it also. So it seems like fun and, ooh, I want to, and ooh, I could tag ambassador to my chest. But there are commitments to a weekly meeting type of thing, a check-in. You have to be able to use Google Docs to be able to log your hours and your time. So there's also that aspect of it too. So we can get all excited about, sign up. And then if you don't want the commitment to put that through, then it's not going to work for you. Also, our volunteer program, that's another thing that they can get involved in. And there's perks there, a free race, some swag, get more involved in Spartan by seeing how we work as a volunteer. Think if you want to be an ambassador and start spreading what you know to the rest of the community. So it's more of a process of becoming involved, getting ingrained, know it, and not just I'm going to be an ambassador. You have to really believe in it and have a commitment to it. Thanks for letting me add that.
Well,
Yeah, of course.
I was going to say, I think, and let's hit that just for a second, because we're I think that's one of the we're probably going to actually have our volunteer folks on at some point, because it is such a crucial part of, again, without the volunteers, we literally every single brand within Spartan would not happen. Whether it is Tough Mudder, whether it's Trail, whether it is DECA, whether it is actually the OCR from Spartan, they do not happen without the volunteers. And I know a lot of folks, not only Shell, but a lot of folks start out dipping their toe in the water by volunteering, and then either giving away those race codes that they get for volunteering, or they use them to race, one of the two. Then they eventually race, and then they understand that there's this next opportunity. And really, I think the ambassador program is that next opportunity.
Yeah.
But it's a very strong opportunity that I know, again, so Shell said this is something that Spartan is doing in some of the things, but I've actually watched it as we're going along, and I will tell you, it is back to what it is because of Gabe and his commitment to what the program is, to the point of, he stood up and said, listen, this isn't my job, and it wasn't your job when you started it, but that again shows the commitment to Spartan and what it takes to be an ambassador. You have to be just as passionate to be the person who's going to be leading the ambassadors. And again, Gabe understands completely what it means to be volunteers and to be a volunteer coordinator at the events.
Sure does.
Because I just watched him do it, and I just watched him deal with chaos in South Carolina. And that's a great thing about, again, the community overall. And we keep talking about this in almost every single one of these podcasts it's the OCR community, right? So, yes, this is the Spartan podcast talking about this. But I will tell you, if anybody who had a chance, I'm going to give a little bit of shout out to what happened in Manila this weekend. It was the second testing with the Olympic Committee to potentially have OCR be the fifth discipline for the pentathlon in the 2028 Olympics. And it wasn't, Ninja Warrior folks were there. The actual world OCR was there. Somebody from Spartan was there. Somebody from, I think even Savage might have had somebody there just to be able to understand what's going on. So the OCR community, and the reason we have the ambassadors on today, as we kind of start wrapping this up a little bit, the reason the ambassadors are on is because they fully embody the OCR community, not just Spartan. I know a lot of folks that I'm really, really close, good friends with, that don't just run Spartan or Tough Mudder, right? They do other things. So there's weekends that we don't have events. Like, we didn't have a Spartan this past weekend, and people who run Spartans every single weekend went to Indiana and ran the Tough Mudder. Or if we don't have a Tough Mudder or a Spartan in the Midwest this weekend, there's other OCRs to run. They just want to run OCR because there's something about getting out there and getting out of your comfort zone. And for especially those of us, literally, I can turn around, we're working in an office. There's something about not being comfortable. There's something about, getting muddy, crawling under barbed wire. And again, if you've never done this, yes, it is real barbed wire. Yes, if you stand up too soon, you will slice yourself just like you would if you ran into a barbed wire fence at a farm, because half of our races are at farms anyways. But the ambassador team is the ones that bring that to life over and above. And I get to see it very fortunately, because a lot of ambassadors are season pass holders. So I do a call once a month with my season pass holders, and a lot of them are ambassadors. And even if they're not official ambassadors, they're still ambassadors of the brand. They just may not, and this is where Shell talks about it, may not have the time commitment to put into being an actual ambassador with the title, right? But I'm telling you, they're ambassadors of the brand. And I know, and that's where Gabe, his reach is going to change things like this as we continue to move on. So I'm going to give Gabe one more opportunity. And I said, Dan, I believe you are going to put some links on there. Gabe's going to get some links for people to check it out, see some videos, maybe see some pictures. We definitely want to get a link from you, Gabe, on volunteering also. Again, so we'll give a little bit of push to the volunteering stuff before we actually have one of them on.
I'd like to show the community that's listening to this right now what you guys do, right? So maybe you
Right.
have photos of setup, maybe you have photos of being out there at the info tent, maybe you have photos of being out on the race, or being in the festival area, or showcasing things that you guys do as an ambassador, so I can kind of, as you're talking about what you're doing, I can add some footage there so that people can see that.
100%, super easy. As soon as we're done with this, I can definitely give that to you guys.
All right. And then anything before we, I'm going to give one shout out to some stuff going on in Nashville before we sign off. But anything from you, Gabe, on your end before we?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to the both of you guys for helping us give this awareness. It's huge for us. And hopefully we can just, once again, talk about this program to more people, get more people invested and involved, because we want to take Spartan to where we know it can continue to grow. And that's really our main objective here, right? Is to be that force, that person. And Shell and Humberto, I want to thank you guys for your time as well, for jumping on here, because once again, you guys are just amazing leads within the program, and you guys are really inspiring a lot of young racers, individuals, to want to be a part of what we're looking to do and get people off the couch. So that's always a plus for us.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you guys coming on and helping me kind of showcase what you guys do, because there's a lot of I was never a wrestler, but because my children were in the wrestling community, I kind of passionately fell in love with it and started what I do. Being around a wrestler and now being around a Spartan athlete and the Spartan world, you see that these two worlds are so much alike. Wrestlers want to be uncomfortable. They get high on that, right? I mean, Spartan guys want to be uncomfortable too. And wrestlers want to go through the pain to get to the finish line, right? To win that match, to get to nationals, to get whatever they want. You guys have that too. Wrestlers battle on the mat, and then off the mat, they're hugging and high-fiving it, and they're helping each other after they just beat the crap out of each other. You see that on the race. You see the two elite racers just going at it with each other. And then afterwards, they're together, they're back helping the kids, they're helping each other get better, they're showing their little techniques, or how did you get that? How did you and it's just neat to see that correlation. So it's been fun to really learn about this new part of my life, I guess.
So I'm going to finish up by tying in two things, the two communities again. So we're going to talk about two things come up in Nashville. First, I'm going to talk about on Sunday, the sprint in Nashville is one of our Run with the Marines events that we have, where we partnered with the Marines at, I think it's still 7 events left in the US. In fact, I think Seattle coming up is one of them this coming weekend. Then we've got one in Hawaii, we've got it, and then we took it all the way to Nashville. So the Nashville one, it's a sprint on Sunday. So if you are interested, you go to Spartan.com, go on to the Nashville one. This is an opportunity for, if you're interested in getting out there with active duty Marines on the course, pretty cool thing. It's not, they're going to probably push you a little bit, so make sure you want to be on it. And I'm looking over here at our wrestler in the room, and I'm like, he's already going, just get me up to Nashville. I'll go on with the Marines. But I will tell you, the cool thing about it is the wrestlers we've seen that attend them push the Marines just as much as the Marines push the wrestlers, because nobody, no Marine wants to get beaten by a high school wrestler, and no high school wrestler wants to get beaten by a 34-year-old Marine. It's an interesting mix, right? But we do offer that. Please check it out. If you're interested, what we're doing as Spartan is we want to get people, young folks back out on that course. We know that the future, and literally I keep looking over at the gentleman that's in the room with us. The future of my job depends upon him deciding he wants to try to do Spartan races every now and then, right? So we're giving those actually admission to those races on us if you sign up for it. And Gabe, thank you, sir. So Seattle, Hawaii, Portland, which is actually in very, very southern Washington state, the Nashville race, the Arizona trifecta, and then Oracle Park is a stadium event. I mean, that again, amazing to go do that in a stadium event. And so you can go up and down those stairs with sandbags faster. And then the last thing, going to give a small little teaser because we're still working on some details on it. The last race of the day on Saturday, which is a super 10K. Somebody in this, you can't tell who it is by the way she's reacting. Somebody on here, someone's brother is a drummer for it's interesting. I know who they are because it's an 80s rock band. But they're still releasing music today. So I don't want to be mean to them or anything, but they were big.
Yeah.
They were big in the late 70s and 80s. We are looking at having them out there with a new foundation that's coming up to help raise some money. Look for this to be showing up on there. They're actually going to have our own heat last
Right.
week.
The band won't, just the drummer with an all-star band. So we
Yeah.
want to be careful not to promote that the band will be out there, because then I'm going to get in trouble by my friends.
No.
They're in the band. One of my best friends is one of the bass players. Get me in trouble.
Yeah.
They're on tour right now. But yes, and so we're gonna have like an all-star thing going on, and that one member will definitely be there with his nonprofit. So go on.
And what we're looking at doing, so a heads up when you see it, when you get the talking to Joe, and this is where you talk about as tough as nails as Joe is, and beating, I mean, like just making you do tough shit all the time. 100% of the proceeds from this heat are going to go to the foundation, right? I mean, that's, so we're going to hold a heat just to raise money, just to help people out. And a lot of people don't know, so we're doing it at a lot of races all over the country. This one here is going to be kind of cool because it's in Tennessee. We're probably going to try to have a little bit of fun in the festival area, some other stuff going on. Look for more information coming out on Spartan.com and also all of our social media sites.
Yeah, and I appreciate it too. And please, I know this is about ambassador and street team and everything, but everybody out there, take a look at Lionheart's Fitness with Shelley there. She's not just an ambassador, but she gives back to the community, and she pulls a lot of children for free out to these races that for a lot would not be involved otherwise. So she does a lot for the community, not just for Spartan. So shout out to her, and great to meet you, Umberto, down there. Gabe, I'll probably see you on 6 more calls.